Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out. Pleasure to be joined by John Fury in Budapest, no less. Never thought I'd be saying that, John. And before we get into all the boxing talk, I did have a look through your Instagram and I saw that you met up with Sir Alex Ferguson. That must have been a meeting of the minds. How was that experience?
It was a pleasant surprise when we had breakfast in Wimslow one morning. And we walk into a breakfast bar and we see the great Alex Ferguson. You know, he's a legend in his own right. The best thing that ever happened to Manchester United from the start. There's been nothing after him, that's for sure. And like I say, an absolute legend and a pleasure on my side meeting a great man like that. And he's a very nice fella as well, very respectful.
Big boxing fan, is he?
Seems to be. He knew a lot about the family, you know, so I can only thank him for his kind words. You know, and he's a big fan of Tyson and Tommy, you know, and me, as he told me, which I find very flattering from a man like him. But yeah, great man. It was a pleasure meeting him.
Do you share the Tyson's dream of there being a Fury fight fought at Old Trafford?
Well, that'd be the pinnacle, wouldn't it? The icing on the cake sort of thing, you know, and to box in your own city at a mega place like Old Trafford, the mecca of the mecca of football, let's say. You know, it'd only be a pipe dream at the minute, but you know, things can happen, can't they? Dreams do come true if you work hard at them. You know, let's just say it would definitely be a high in the Fury legacy to box at Old Trafford, wouldn't it? You know, you never know, but for now, the pipe dreams aren't there.
This weekend sees not only Tommy Fury back up, but also the return of Roman Fury. What are you specifically looking for Roman in his development in his professional career so far?
Again, Roman's been very inactive. Obviously, he was training for a fight. We spent 7 weeks in camp and it got called off fight week, you know, which, we was very disappointed about because Roman needs to get out as regular as possible, being a novice professional, you know, and it's been very good at these Hungarian people to put him on the bill. You know, they said, okay, he's been training. Why not put him on the bill with Tommy? Well, I was overjoyed, you know, and I can't thank these people here enough. They poured a lot into this. They made an excellent job of it. It's a beautiful arena they're boxing at. They treat us really well here. You know what? It's been a pleasure being here. We've been in here on a month now, and it's been an absolute pleasure. It's a beautiful city, steeped in history, beautiful buildings, you know, an authentic culture, beautiful churches. And when you're a religious man like me, when you believe in God and Jesus like I do, this is the place to be, you know, because it's a big Christian part of the world, you know, and everybody's singing off the same hymn sheet. You know, I'm just so lucky and overjoyed to be part of this event and being sat here in Budapest right now.
He seems to have built up a brewing rivalry with Roman Fury with Chase DeMoor. Is that something that you feel like before the end of the year those two will meet in the ring?
Chase DeMoor's terrified of Roman. We knew it wasn't going to take place. He's got a big mouth, you know, and at the end of the day, enough said on him. He's no bottle. He's a bottle job, isn't he? That's why the show probably got cancelled, because he crapped his pants, didn't he? He was going on to say he could even beat Tyson at one stage, and me and him all in the same night. So I don't want to talk about men what can't fight. Let's talk about men with bollocks who can actually put their hands up. So we'll move on from him. Man's an idiot.
Fair enough. Tommy, look, he's opened up now and he's spoken about the turmoil he's been through and the road he's had to go through to get back to where he is right now. Can you tell me about that process Tommy's been through to get him back from the depths that he's been at?
Yeah, again, it happened again, really, didn't it? Lightning struck twice in the dark days department. In Tommy's case, you know, he had a fallout with his missus and whatnot. His own fault, by the way, you know, because his own behaviour. He's a man, a 25-year-old, and you can't tell him because he's not a child anymore. But, you know, depression, being out the ring so long, the doctors telling him his career might be over, major hand surgery. And the doctor who did the operation was the top guy in Britain what did it, and he said it was in the top 3 of the worst scenarios he's ever seen regarding hand operations, you know. So it was touch and go, and he just got depressed, you know, like every human being would do. And he thinks, well, I've got a family to support. I'm at the beginning of my career. I could be at the end. So it got to him. He was drinking too much, you know, he's staying out late. And I just think he lost control of his life and his soul for a bit, you know. But again, he showed resilience to turn it all around. We got some good news off the doctor. He said, look, it's been a success operation, I'm pleased to say. And I can only thank him very much as well. Without those professional people, none of us would be in a career or doing anything. So a big up to the doctor who performed the operation. But it gave him a new lease of life. And I just looked at him, I said, look, either you want to be a bum in the corner of a boozer, supping on a pint of beer with nothing, or else get the bit between your teeth, come back strong like Tyson did, and change your life. And you know what? Only a short few months later, here we are, headlining our own show with probably some of the best promoters out there. You know, like these Hungarians, they're new to the job, but by God, they know how to put a show on. The venue's lovely. It's a sellout. You know, so we couldn't be in a better place at the minute. All the camp's gone well. He's fit. He's ready to go, you know, so I'm very excited for tomorrow night.
Boxing, you know better than I do, is a incredibly fickle sport. Does Tommy have to go in and get a knockout to keep his name in people's mouths and set up those big fights that you and he are looking for?
Let me tell you, we don't care what people think of us. Whatever they're going to think, it's going to be mainly bad anyway. I want Tommy to go in there, enjoy the night, get the rounds in. If the knockout comes, it comes. Don't go looking for it. Just show your class. Do what you've been doing in the gym, and we need the rounds. If he can get him out of there, so be it. If he doesn't, you know, it's no skin off anybody's nose. Tommy needs a round. It's only going to benefit Tommy. Whichever way that goes, distance or knockout, Tommy will benefit from it. But like I say, we're not looking for anything. We're just looking to get the rounds in, showcase some skills, what we've been working on in the gym. And let's not forget, this kid's lost one fight on a close points decision. And he had the fella down as well. So this he's only lost one. He's dropped one decision. He's had over 150 amateur bouts. You know, he's a battling Bosnian. You know, they're strong kids. You know, and he's a warrior. And he's looking to make a statement with Tommy because it's his world title fight. You know, and everybody seems to be, when they're boxing a Fury, they bring their A game. You know, it lifts them. The name Fury just lifts them up that far. They come and fight out the skin, don't they, no matter who they are. But I'm looking for a decent night of boxing. I think they'll both be good fights, and I'm looking for both boys to learn a lot and get the job done because they need experience. My God, they've been the most unactive fighters ever. Rome's had 4 fights in about 3.5 years. You know, but listen, these things have got to happen to take us to places where we're going to be. But as long as we get the right decisions made and they do the right stuff in and out the ring, I have no complaints.
Given where Tommy's come through in this dark period recently, will you be keeping more of a keener eye in the period from now up until fight night, especially in the change room, to make sure there's no lack of focus, that he's firmly set and there's no kind of signs of anything that might turn Tommy's eye away from the task at hand?
No, because we're too long in the tooth in the fight game. We've been on some major shows, you know, and at the end of the day, we've come too far to do things like that. We're not going to lose sight in the dressing room, are we? You know, it'd be unprofessional and it'd be very amateurish, wouldn't it? You know, like I say, he's going to go in there Friday night. He's going to be looking to get the job done. He's eager to get in there and put a great show on for the paying public here in Budapest and the people who's travelled from the UK to support him, which I thank everybody who's watching on TV and the ones who's made the trip across here. You know, but he's not going to disappoint. No, he's not going to lose focus. He's too professional for that. And like I said, we don't lose focus, especially in this business.
So I want to get into the conversation surrounding Tyson Fury. And first of all, the breakdown from the second fight with Oleksandr Usyk. Just set the table for me in terms of what you made of that fight and Tyson's performance.
Well, first and foremost, he had his belt stolen off him, didn't he? He had them stolen off him, to be honest with you. And what can you say? When somebody's paid you a shed load of money, they seem to resent letting you stay champion as well, don't they? You know, and for my money, he probably didn't want to pay him the same amount again. Probably couldn't afford to pay Tyson that same money again if he'd let him remain as champion. For me, he won both fights. He didn't look in fantastic shape in this second one, you know. And in the first one, he needed more rest time, to be honest with you. He put a full camp in, 7 weeks, got cut. He had 3 weeks rest, and he's back in the gym for another 8 weeks. You can't do those things. So by the time he got in the ring, the first fight with Usyk, he'd overtrained. There was nothing left of him. But he was facing a $10-15 million fine. He was backed in a corner, and he couldn't do it. I told him, take the fine. Take the fine. I said, he's not going to fine you. There's no show without you. There's no show, you know. But anyway, he didn't want to let fans down. He didn't want to let people down. You know, but sometimes you've got to make your own decisions and not care about other people so much. You know, but like I say, he overtrained the first time. He had 2 camps back to back. It's like training for 4 months for a fight without no rest. And, for my money, he left the best work in the gym. He needed rest time. The second time, I never got involved at all because, my own personal reasons, which I'm not going to go into because there's no need to because the horse has bolted. But Tyson could be in a lot better shape, let's put it that way. And I'm going to end on that. You can have a look at him when he's in there. If you put the work in, hard work, you just don't look like that. I know he's always been a little overweight, but something, you've got to look like you've done something. And unfortunately, he didn't look like that. But how good is he when he can perform with the best in the world who's had the knackers washed for him and still win? Because like I said, his body didn't represent work to me. And what I call work and his team calls work is two different things. But listen, like I said, the horse has bolted. For mine, when he won both fights, they stole his belts off him. They've took the biggest ticket seller out the game. Because without Tyson Fury, there's no dance partners. This thing what's happening now, Usyk and the other one, Dubois, that's never going to be a 95,000 crowd. You need a dance partner. And let me tell you, Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, is the best dance partner anyone can ever have. If you want money, big money, without the Gypsy King, you're not getting it. Don't get me wrong, it's all decent money to a pauper like me with nothing. But like I say, if you want the mega bucks, you've got to include the Gypsy King. And like I said, they've shot themselves in the foot. It's just bad business. But they think, okay, we'll rob you today, let the dust settle, we'll offer you a few more quid later on, and we'll get you back at it. But guess what? They can't do that with him now, because he's had enough. Because he believes now he's had his belt stolen off him, which he has had. And he thinks, okay then, jog on. There's no more Gypsy King. So they've cost themselves money, haven't they? Cost themselves millions and millions of dollars through not doing the right stuff, you know what I'm saying? And look, no disrespect to Oleksandr Usyk, great fighter, all weight division champion, but he hasn't got the charisma or the selling power, the pulling power Tyson Fury has. Great fighter, but you need to be more than a great fighter where the big dollars are concerned. You've got to have everything. And the Gypsy King had everything. Like I said, I wanted to stay retired. I told him to retire after Derek Chisora. Pleaded with him. I said, don't do any more. Because I knew he weren't training right. The people around him was only looking for kudos and a few quid. Because let me tell you in this game, when it's a man's living and he's depending on that money, you're never going to get the truth out of him. You're never going to get the truth. They're just there for a paycheck, these people. I'm sincere. These are my sons and I love them. And I'm working totally for free. I don't want any money. Let them have all the money. I just want them to do the work. I want to see him grind. I want to see him sweat. I want to see him nearly cry. I want to nearly see him spew up in the gym. And they passed that test. But you do get in the ring fit with me. And you do look like you've been training. But Tyson's a phenomenal champion. There'll never be another like him. But I tell you what, if he trained like these two boys who I've got trained, he'd be champion while he's a 50-year-old. Because they can't do any good with him when he's basically out of shape because he don't do any conditioning work. It's all light pads, bit of bag work, bit of skipping, sparring. But you need more to it. You need that grind. You need to put some muscle on your frame. And that's what he was short of. There's no muscle on his frame. I call it fat thin. Fat thin is what it is. And he knows himself. Maybe he'll smell the coffee one day and maybe say, okay, I'm going to spend 12 months getting my body in tip-top shape, get all this surplus crap off my body, get some muscle on my frame, then start 12-week boxing camp, punching, and learn to get the skills back, the moves back. Because for me, he's lost all that movement. The movement he had, the trickiness, the jerky, the thing that made him great, they've took away from him. Because every heavyweight can hit, and every heavyweight can stand there and trade shots. And for my money, over the last 4 years, took a lot of punishment. And maybe that's put miles on the clock. Maybe it's ended his career, you don't know. Because I've seen my son a lot better than that. And to be honest with you, Usyk in that last fight weren't all that either. The two never really done anything, did they? It was more like a 12-round sparring session, which Tyson won. But if Tyson would have been super fit, body rock hard, muscled up, he'd have tore his way straight through him. But again, it's getting it right, isn't it? But that's just my opinion, nobody else's. But that's how I've seen the full thing. Tyson could have been in a lot better physical condition than he was. Great boxer, no two-phased attacks, couldn't keep the pressure on. And he didn't look to be punching with that much power either. So whatever they was doing in Malta, I don't know. But you know what? That's my opinion for what it's worth. Probably worth nothing, but there you go. But did he get his belt stolen off him? Of course he did. Both occasions. Usyk was a lucky man. Timing was right for him. That's all I can say about that. But Tyson will never be another champion like him. There'll never be another ticket seller like him from the UK. Ever. What's done's done. But let me tell you. Good luck to Oleksandr Usyk. He deserves to stay champion for a long time. But again, he's going to go on too long. And I just see now Daniel Dubois becoming a multi-belt champion soon. Because how many fights you got in you? You come up from cruiserweight to heavyweight. You got these big men banging away at you. He's only got to walk into one, and the bar's up for him. He's on a good win over Anthony Joshua. He had a good fight with the American Miller, and at the end of the day, I just think it's a young man's game and anything can happen. But you could well see a new champion in Wembley soon.
So I want to unpack there. And first of all, look, you said you don't want to discuss obviously what happened between you and Tyson. I respect that absolutely, but I want to ask you from your point of view where it left you, because not only as someone who's a trainer in the corner who can affect and give instructions, but you're also the father too. So being on the outside watching, not being able to give instructions, and also as a father watching your son go through that fight the second time around, how did it leave you?
To be honest with you, you can lead a horse to water, but whether it drinks or not doesn't matter. And see me, I'm very untrusting of people, especially if they're not blood-kinned, because basically, like I've said before, where a man's looking to make money and is depending on that money, you're never going to get the truth out of him. They need you in that ring, come what may. They're going to blow that much smoke up your ass. They're going to tell you how great you are just to get paid. I don't do that. And I will tell him, I'll say, listen, that's no good. It's no good. All these, for my money, a lot wants kicking down the road. Because the fight itself, I was expecting a second time for them to realise, okay, he's had the rest, 3-month camp. I expected him coming there like an Adonis, like he did against the German he fought over in America, Tom Schwartz. Body looked great. He looked muscled up. When he fought the other American kid, what was his name now? The cruiserweight, what moved up to heavyweight? Steve Cunningham. His body looked like a fighter's body. And it's all right saying he's older, but you know what? I was in the best shape of my life at 47-year-old. I was in the best condition of my life at 47. I was in prison, training every day. But when you put the work in, even at 47, eat right and train hard, you can look good. And I see a muscled up 19-stone Tyson Fury with a good neck, good pair of shoulders, good back on him, good strong legs where he's done the work, walk straight through them guys. Box his head off and walk straight through them. But they've got to believe in what you do. And unfortunately, Tyson's never ever believed in what I've done because he likes people to tell him how great he is, which is it's a bad trait, isn't it? And I've always said, if he's not your father or your mother or your brother, you can't put your trust in him. And he's put his trust in him and he's come up short. That's it, really. Can't say no more. Can't say any more.
If there's a third fight to happen between the two of them, which Tyson seems to have earmarked as one that he wants, what needs to change for him to get the result on the scorecards this time round?
He's got to, what can I say? He's got to spend time on his physique. Forget the boxing. He needs 12 months on his physique properly to get some muscle on his frame. And if he's not prepared to work his rocks off for the next 6 months, just getting his body right. He's got the boxing side of it covered. You cannot teach a great champion like him nothing. He's a boxer tricks. But what's letting him down is his physical condition, his lack of muscle, his lack of body strength, and his lack of power. Because they're not using the muscles and working the muscles you need at that level. If you're fighting at an undisputed world level, you've got to train like an absolute titan. If you're not going to do that, stay retired. Because the result's going to be the same. You can have all these people around you, you can be loyal to them, you can love them, but they're not going to give you them belts back. You've got to earn them by shitting blood, sweat, snot and tears and determination to put yourself through hell. Put yourself through hell twice a day, every day for 6 months. Eat the best of food. You know, get the proper people around you. What you can trust. You know, and like I say, and without all that, you're not going to do any good. The belts will stay with whoever got them. And at his age now, I just think he's got tons left. Tons left in the tank. This man can come back and win that belt 3 times over, but not with a crowd round him. Definitely not. If he's going to keep all of them what's looking for a few quid, what's looking for the pat on the back and get the face on a camera, wherever at any given opportunity, you know, forget it. Stay retired. Stop lining people's pockets with money at your own expense. You know, but I'm not going on like I'm bitter. I am bitter because he could have done a lot better. I know he could. And like I say, if he does what I think he should do, it won't be a problem getting his belts back. There's nobody out there in his class, really. You know, he's beating these men as fat as a pig. You know, no muscle, just, well, what can you say, fat, thin. And they still can't do any good with him. And they're having the knackers washed for him. You know what I'm saying? So, how good is he? But he'll never fulfill his true potential all the time he's got pretenders and cowboys around him, which just after money. You know, and enough on Tyson now. He's been a great champion, but for my money, he's done enough. He don't owe the sport nothing. He's give the most memorial nights in boxing ever to the British people and around the world. I thank everybody for his supporters. But if he's not willing to put his life and soul and give up everything in his life, stay retired. Stay retired. You've got to give up everything. You've got to give up wife, kids, friends, drinks, food. You've got to live like the old boys. You've got to live like the Rocky Marcianos, the Marvin Haglers, the Muhammad Ali's, the George Foremans, all them other greats left everything in the closet till they came back victorious. There's plenty of time to play mummies and daddies. There's plenty of time to play family men. There's plenty of time to drink. There's plenty of time to eat shit food. There's plenty of time to pass idle gossip with fake friends. You can do that for the rest of your life. But if you want to lock yourself away for 6 months, say, right, all you stay out my life. I'm concentrating on getting my belts back. I don't want to see nothing, only training and work, boxing to get my belts back. If you can't do that, if you can't make that commitment, stay retired.
I want to give you the right to reply from the first fight because, first of all, I want to get your trainer's perspective on that 9th round and guiding Tyson back to the task after he took that hellacious shot and survived through it, but also the flack that you took for what was picked up on the cameras. You took a lot of criticism for. That's your right reply on that, and as well, guiding Tyson back into the fight. Yeah,
well, if it wasn't for me in his corner, he'd been knocked out. Simple as that. He was listening to the wrong instruction when he got caught, going to the left of a southpaw. I'm a southpaw. You don't go to the left on me because I'll catch you. You know, he was listening to the ill advice. There's too many people in the corner, and I'm his father. And if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't. He won. He not only stayed in the fight, he won the 11th. He shared the 10th because his legs was gone in the 10th. Because he was a miracle man to get out of the 9th round. But it was me what kept him in there. If it had been left to them, he'd have been knocked out. Because it was me what said, right, you got to get behind your jab, you got to box, slip and slide, move around, use your brains, and just get your legs back. And he did that. And he won the 11th and the 12th. So like I say, if it had been down to me, they never got caught in the first place. He was just listening to people he believed in, what hasn't got any fighting experience. And at the end of the day, if he was that good of a trainer, Sugar Hill, his uncle Emmanuel would have left him the top job, wouldn't he? He'd left him the full business. Jonathan Banks ended up with it. Why didn't Tommy Hearns have Sugar Hill? Why didn't Lennox Lewis have him? Why didn't all the other Kronk fighters have him? There's a reason for it. Why has all these British fighters had him and sacked him? Because he's incapable. And I'm the first to say it. I don't mind the man as a man. I'm talking on boxing terms only. The man's a very nice man. He's never done me no harm in any way, shape or form. But we're talking boxing politics here. You know what I'm saying to you? And they just don't work Tyson hard enough. He's too soft with him. And Tyson's telling him what to do half the time. And like I say, they're not going to tell him he's wrong because he needs the money. But what I can say is the public can kiss my bell end. So I couldn't give one flying fuck about them. But without me, he wouldn't have made it to the 12th round. Because let me tell you, when you're in trouble, you got to do what you can to keep out of trouble. You can't go gung-ho in it when you've got no leg underneath you. His legs was gone. He took a shot. He was drained before he went to the fight Because I told him, I said, take the £10 million fine. They're not going to fine you. It's bullshit. You're the star of the show. But listen, he's fighting on an empty tank. You know, he might have looked all right, but he's putting punches together. And for mine, when he walked the first 7 or 8 rounds, didn't he? He walked them. He was bashing Usyk all over the ring. It was a one-sided affair. But he made the mistake in listening to the wrong advice, going left on the southpaw. Oh, he's not prepared for it. He's not trained for a man going left on him. Guess what? Usyk's too good for that. He went left and Usyk popped the left hand straight over, right down the pipe. Bang! Changed the full fight. It took everything out of him because he had nothing in it to start with. You know, just boxing skill-wise, brilliantly. But I thought, you know what? I knew he never had the resilience because, you know, he'd had no time to rest and work on his conditioning properly. But he did so well to recover in the 9th round, showed world-class art, and any lesser man would have hit that floor and not got up. You'll never see a fighting art like the Gypsy King, and I'm proud of my boy, no matter what the decision is. And I don't care what people think. You know, he finished the fight on his feet. It was a split decision, and he won the last 2 rounds. You know, so people can say what they want because they're all jealous. They're jealous of a father and son thing. And let me tell you something. All problems, my friend, are very close to home. You know that? They're very close to home. So what I say to them, if they want to put their trust in people who's only after money, and so-called this modern word, coup, fucking dos, get some oil in your can and fuck them all off and start again properly. You know, Tommy's had a million opportunities to go. He's had a million of them. But you know what he said? Dad, they don't train anything. They don't do any work. They don't do nothing. You know, he's here for a reason, isn't he? I know it's on a lot lower level, but look how I've guided this kid. Look where I've put him in his life. Don't get me wrong, he's had to do it himself, but there's only one man guided him because he'd been ate alive with them wolves out there if it wasn't for me. And I'm going to keep looking after him until I draw my last breath. And I just want success for him. You know, if you can go through life doing everything right and people, you know, admiring what you do, you don't have to win world titles. It's called being pleasant, being yourself and trying your best. And your best is all you can do. And stop worrying about people. People don't pay my bills. They do nothing for me. And I don't want them to be. You know, if they can't say good morning and tip the cap like I would to them, it doesn't bother me at all. Not in any way, shape or form. That's why I've not said no about nothing and nobody. And all them people that say this and this, that and the other, they'll never come and sit where you are and insult me. Never would. They never would come where you are and insult me. Because you know what? The time would end for them. And I'd be back doing on the murder charge. All them can keep where they are. Was never took a punch in the ear in their life. You know, I've had plenty of punches in the ear. And at the end of the day, if they want to say something to me and derogatize me, come and do it where we can say, okay, me and you, Z, let's step outside now and have a go. There'll be no messing about. Come on, we'll have a go now. I don't need any 12-week training camps for me. I'll have a go down today. You know what I'm saying? But here's messages for all them wankers. Stay where you are. Keep away from me and my family. You're not needed. Don't like you. Don't want to see you. I've only got time for nice people like over here. We've been in this place here now for a month. We've had nothing but pleasure, love, you know, everybody wanting pictures, lovely people, a lot from the UK. And it's a breath of fresh air to be out with that quagmire of shit where we've been in for the last fucking 20 years. But you know what? It is what it is, isn't it? It's never going to change because jealousy, the green-eyed monster, people like to see your downfall, don't they? If you tell people you've got 3 months to live, they fucking thrive on it, don't they? They won't pop a champagne cork. Tell them you won the lottery, they resent you for it. So are they worth bothering about? I say no. Okay, my friend, I think I've gone on enough.
John, just before you go, I appreciate but there's a couple of things I wanted to discuss with you if you would give me the time. If Tyson does continue, there's a lot of talk about, we've touched on Oleksandr Usyk, but the anti-Joshua fight, is that you've always been complimentary to Joshua throughout his career.
He's a lovely kid.
Is that a fight you want to see them engage in before?
Not now, no. The horse has bolted. They should have fought 5 years ago when it would have been something, you know, when there were 2 unbeaten people, you know, and at the end of the day, AJ's got his own course and his own path to go, and I wish him all luck in the world. He's a lovely young man. He's got a lot of respect for his father and his family, his elders, and that goes a long way with me. And he'll always be high in my expectations, will Anthony Joshua. And don't write him off, because I think on his night he can come back, he can beat any of them. You know what I'm saying?
Joe Parker, of course, is someone who the family know very well, and he's waiting in the wings off the back of this Usyk versus Dubois fight being made for the Undisputed. Means that Joe Parker, who a lot of people say have earned his opportunity, isn't going to get his opportunity. What do you feel Joe Parker should be getting in the immediacy off the back of his recent success?
He should fight the winner of Usyk and Dubois. Should fight the winner. He deserves it, and he's on form. He's on a roll. He's worked hard for it. He's been in with some big names. He's come back from a bad defeat off Joe Joyce, getting stopped there. But look what he's done since. Any man that's on a roll and beat the men he's beat is worthy of a title shot. And why not? He's been a WBO champion before. He's worthy enough. He's good enough. And I think on his night, he can win a world title again. But the man to look out for, I think, is Agit Kabayel. He's the danger man. I like what he does, him. Cool, calm, collected, takes a shot, gets off the floor and wins. You know, and for my money, out of this new crop of heavyweights, Agit Kabayel is the one to watch. All these guys like Joe Parker's, all the ones like them, they're the older school now. They've had their chance and their time has been and gone. So I'm looking at Agit Kabayel. He does it for me, him. And I just think that at the end of the day, he can rock it with the best of them. But can Parker come back and have a success with any of these other men like AJ, Dubois, Usyk? He's quite capable. And give him his shot.
I think Dubois does beat Usyk the second time around at Wembley.
He's every chance of it. You know, the man's 38, 39-year-old. He's a big banger and he's on a roll himself, isn't it, Dubai? Excellent fight with Anthony Joshua. AJ ate him because it was touch and go, that fight, you know, till he landed that shot. Because I actually thought when AJ rushed in to get him, he'd ate Dubai, but he got careless and he come in square on, and his defences wasn't all that, and he got caught. But until then, it was anybody's fight. But he's got this KO power, hasn't he, this Dubai? You know, if he gets it home this time on a 38, 39-year-old Usyk, who's had the tank emptied twice now by the Gypsy King, how much has he got left? Is it the right time for Dubai? I think it is. My money's going on him.
Was that shot in the first fight low or not?
No. Definitely not. No. If the trunks pulled up here like he usually does, it was a clean body shot that took him out. Good luck to Dubai. If it had been my son, the fight wouldn't have carried on from there on. We'd have been celebrating the win, we'd have invaded the ring, but again, rookie's at the job. Instead, they got him, left him, give him a second chance, let him get his legs. He had 10 minutes to get his legs, and he put him behind the jab, didn't he? Put him behind the jab and got him humiliated and stopped in the ninth. Well, good luck to Usyk. It shows what balls he's got. But he's a great champion, Usyk. Take nothing from him. But I just think this time, he knows he's hurt him before. And I just think the younger man is on a roll, big, strong man. Anything can happen. But if Usyk does him, fair play.
Eubank Jr. versus Benn. Did you watch that fight? It was an incredible moment.
Brilliant night of boxing from both boys. And you know what? I was glad to see the two fathers. Because Nigel Benn's given me a lot of pleasure over the years. He's about the same age as me, Nigel's senior. You know, he can be very proud of his son. A 147 fighter coming straight up to that weight. And Eubank was a big boy on the night, wasn't he? You know, Eubank could have been in excess of 13 and a half stone on the night, you know, whichever what it would be. But both men fought admirably. You know, they give pleasure in abundance, great attendance, and it lived up to his expectations, you know. I never got into the bullshit with his father not speaking to him. It was a bit of a... there's no father can fall out with his son. The blood thicker than water, will come together in a crisis like they did, you know. But it was good to see both fathers, two legends of the game, two good fighting champions from the UK. On the sons put on a corker, didn't they? They put on a sizzler, edge of the seat stuff. The 147 guy, Ben Jr., incredible performance from a light man. You know, he's a big boy, Eubank, big strong lad, will to win. And again, both boys raised the game, didn't they? The right man won. I didn't agree with the 112, 116 bit. And another thing, do you notice? They like that 116, 112 score, don't they? Eubank got the 116, 112, and Tyson got the same thing against Usyk, 116, 112. So I don't know. But it was closer than that. You know, I give Ben the last couple of rounds. That was it. Because he laid on him, put his weight on him, and he used the bigger advantage, the size advantage, and got home. It was a cracking fight. Both men can be proud of themselves, and both fathers can be proud of their boys, because they fought like well, titans, didn't they?
Do you want to see a rematch?
I do. I really do. You know, because at the end of the day, where we're going to get fights saved up like this?
That's true.
Where are we going to get them?
That's true.
Where are we going to get them? We're not getting them. You know, when it's like it, because it was a 50-50 bout. But I do think if Ben would have been a bit bigger, the story would have been different.
What about the rehydration element from Eubank Jr.? Is that something you like to see? It looked like he was in agony making that weight, John.
It can be dangerous making weight, can't it? You know, it can. You look at the damage it's caused. You know, it can cause anything. You know, and I don't. If a man's got to be held up on the scales to make a weight, make a weight, move up. If you got to hold him up on the scales to make a weight, you're never going to perform right. So I'll tell you what, move up. But you got to admire the Ben fella. He's only a 147 fighter, wasn't he? And the other fella, 12 stone man, isn't he? Super middleweight, big weight to jump up. But I tell you what, didn't affect him from the scrap, did it? Both men had balls like King Kong. That's all I can say.
Eubank Jr. wants to fight Canelo. Do you think that's a good fight for him?
Well, yeah, if he can get the money in. If he can get the money in. You know, but listen, they're talking colossal amounts of money, aren't they? And I want those boys to earn colossal amounts of money because they deserve it. And if you can make the Canelo fight, Eubank, make sure both boys are well paid, it'd be something to watch again, won't it? You know, because Canelo, very good man, isn't he? You know, but so's Eubank. Anything can happen, can't it? Because you might get in that ring. Canelo might be great today, but he might enter the ring for one time and he's not all that, isn't it?
That's what they're saying about him in this last fight with Scull. I don't know if you saw it.
That's in it. He just looked a bit more lethargic than he used to do, you know. But again, he's had a lot of fights, Canelo. But don't get me wrong, world-class men like Canelo can turn it on when they need to. You know what I'm saying? But I just want both boys to get well paid, you know, and not hate each other too badly.
Two final things for you, John. I appreciate your time. Leading off with the Canelo chat, and I was there in Riyadh to go watch him. Crawford then entered the ring, and he's going to be taking on Canelo, stepping up from the welterweight and super welterweight up into super middleweight to take on Canelo Alvarez. Do you see a route to victory for Terence Crawford against Canelo Alvarez?
Absolutely. Terence Crawford is probably one of the best technicians in the world. Slippery fighter, you know, can avoid shots, you know, and you're looking at another elite man, aren't you, in Terence Crawford. He's elite, you know. When elite men meet, anything can happen. But with a skill like Crawford's got, you can pit him with anybody and get the win, even Canelo. For me, technically, he's on his own at the minute. Crawford, brilliant. So's Canelo, but you know what? The young guns again, innit? One's up and coming, one's been there, had his day. And like I say, you can turn up once too often, can't you? And you're not the man you was. But Canelo, great, not great, brilliant. Crawford, brilliant again. I'd like to see that as well. But again, size matters, doesn't it?
Last thing I want to end on, John, is I remember a couple of years back, and I know you and Colin Hart butted heads in the past, but he's since departed. I watched the videos back in the day of you and IFL, you, Billy Joe Saunders, and you two would obviously have your back and forths and stuff, obviously all amicable, but his passing leaves a big hole in journalism, and as the voice of boxing, that's big shoes for us to all fill on the media side. Just your words on Colin, who's now no longer with us, sadly.
Big loss to boxing. He was good at his job. He was very thorough. We had many a chat, me and Colin. Didn't agree all the time, but the man knew his stuff, and he's been around forever. You know, he's probably forgot more than I ever knew, Colin Hart. He's been there, and he's commentated on the biggest fights, hasn't he? He'll be sadly missed, and I'll miss him. A great man, you know, a great analyst and a great journalist, wasn't he? And he spoke the truth, didn't he, when he could? You know, and at the end of the day, he had to fight through a quagmire of politics, but he got his word home. He'd be sadly missed. It's a great loss to boxing. I hope he gets a good bed in heaven. Colin Hart, rest in peace.
John, well, very well said. Anything else you'd like to leave on before we close off, John?
I think I've done enough, don't you?
Well, no, I appreciate it.
Good luck, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks very much.
Pleasure. Thank you.